a subject matter of solicitation, please read the offer documents carefully. We've heard these lines many times, and today we have with us a subject matter expert on the same. He leads great teams and has won many accolades and awards. He's joined us today to share his life story with us. Welcome to Cutting Chai Stories, brought to you by the Economic Times, an initiative of ET Edge. Through these chats, we engage with our esteemed guests in a candid conversation where we not only understand their professional journey, but also their personal one. What makes them great leaders? How do they tackle the challenges that are thrown at them? And on a lighter note, what do they do when they are not in work mode? What are their hobbies, their interests, and passions? I'm your host Deepthi Diwan, and in today's video, we're delighted to welcome yet another exemplary leader. We have with us Mr. Sachin Datta, Chief Operating Officer at Canara HSBC OBC Life Insurance Company Limited. Welcome, Mr. Datta.
Many thanks, Deepthi, and good to be here.
It's absolutely our pleasure as well. And today he's joined us to share his life story with us over a cup of warm cutting chai. So once again, a very warm welcome to you, Sachin. And first things first, congratulations on winning so many awards and accolades. I'm just naming a few here. You won the Insurance Alerts Asia's Finest CEO Awards 2020. You won the Young Achiever of the Year Award for excellent leadership and management skills. And I'm sure many, many more. So a round of applause for those wonderful accomplishments. Now, what I want to ask you is, was this your plan? Did you plan all these things, or you just went with the flow, opportunities knocked on your door, and then you took those on and things happened for you? So how was it? How was your journey like?
Well, thanks for highlighting that. Actually, never came that way to my mind. But again, for all the awards, I would like to thank, my customers, my team, the management team over here. Of course, we are a bunch of strong people, always kind of pursuing excellence. So many thanks for, calling those awards out. To answer your question, it's a mix of both, plan as well as, opportunities came the way. And I, continue to explore those opportunities. Planning in what sense? Yes, I've given myself goals. Every 5 years, what is it that I need to kind of focus on? So it does require in the mind to kind of rehearse things over a period of time and see those things kind of evolving, and then turning the opportunities into great opportunities or bigger opportunities. And of course, I believe that opportunities and readiness, when both merge, then eventually the outcome is probably success or learning or whichever form and shape you call it. So it's a mix of both, Deepthi, to be honest. Planning as well as opportunities coming my way. God's been kind, and I've been kind of just given the opportunity, man in the moment, as I call myself, and happy to be.
Wow, great. So, Sachin, first up, what a great thing for a leader to say. You instantly credited all those, achievements to your customers and to your team. So that just goes on to show what a great leader you are. And of course, like you said, it was a mixed bag of planning things and opportunities. And indeed, after a long time, I've heard someone speak about the 5-year plan. Of late, not many people, not many leaders I've heard speaking about this. So do you keep checking your list? Have I accomplished these things? Have I seen my goals, met? Do you keep going back to, your goals?
Well, yes, I do. So if you ask me 5 years, into this, I did plan few of the things out. Some, of course, things happened as I moved along. But clearly, in my mind, things have been clear that these are the things that one needs to do. Of course, what I have is, plan is on the inputs. What I do not control is just the outputs, although you can try to, control as much as you can, but things do often go outside of the plan as well. So, and I'm also a human being, so I have done my planning, kind of fallen off the plan as well at times, come back to the plan and, keep moving through. So I think it's the journey that I believe that I'm on. And, while the destination is, of course, are the milestones, and, these milestones change over a period of time, but clearly I plan out the journey and go with the flow, and then see the outcome after every 5 years. and probably give myself a pat on the back, or if there's some learning out of it, then I share learnings with myself that this is what I could have done better to do things differently. And that's the learning process and the evolution process that I'm on.
Well, that's a great one. Absolutely. So, talking about your goals and the highs and lows in your life, let me discuss that a little bit in detail. How how do you get impacted by the highs? And like you said, you give yourself a pat on the back, and then if not, then you have some learnings from there. But there are those days when you're really not feeling that upbeat or positive. What do you do at that time? Do you reach out to someone who's like your 2 a.m. friend, who listens to you without any judgment? Or do you have, your family members, or do you read a book? Do you listen to something positive? Do you just travel? What is your, general, input at that time? What do you do which helps you come out of that situation and then find a solution?
Well, there are a lot of 2 a.m. friends. Of course, the category is broken down into two, one on the professional side. I've got my coaches, my mentors. Of course, I can't call them at 2 a.m. now, and those calls were more frequent when I got into leadership positions. But one thing that's really helped, and I would want to kind of just share with you is the importance of coaches and mentors. And I believe that what I've achieved so far is an outcome of my executive coaches, and the organization gave me the platform. The organization that I work for did give executive coaches assigned to me, people who could really help me with their experiences, ex-MD CEOs of various organizations. So I've been kind of working with them, created an ecosystem that has helped me on the professional front. I think on the personal front, my wife, and my 10-year-old son, they are two, guiding forces for me, giving me very unbiased opinions about things. I do not discuss too much of business with them, but then, I try to kind of convert my problems into more of, how they will be able to relate it better. And probably sometimes the answers from them are very unique and different, and that kind of helps me re-energize myself. Last thing, I think to be very frank with you, whenever there have been times where I've felt low, the only thing that I've tried to kind of do is stay positive, stay more optimistic. I think pessimism or probably having a negative bent of mind, can drag you down really severely. And I do believe in that if you create a very positive aura about yourself and around you, then a lot of people kind of get positively influenced, and their positive energy becomes my positive energy, and my positive energy, probably I'm able to radiate that. So I'm a very firm believer of when things are probably not happening as you plan, just switch your mind, deflect your mind to think more positive. And the more negative the circumstances are, the more positive the mind should start to think, because that's where the solution starts to emerge. So that's those are the three things that at least has helped me come out of those zones and circumstances when I felt things were not happening as I planned them to be. And of course, grab a lot of learnings out of it and then implement it for next time. So that's in a nutshell, if I could describe how I stay positive around or on things.
Wow. That was incredible, and some great learnings there. So I think I'm going to revisit this interview later on and make some notes. Absolutely had some great inputs there. And I think what stood out was, of course, we always have family, we have friends, we have, our professional guides. But what stood out was also the fact that the coaches, the mentors, how they, help you so much. So that's a great input there. And, Sachin, let's go back to the time when you were growing up. Could you tell us about what you were like when you were in school, in college? Were you an introvert or an extrovert? Do you at that point remember any positive influences, that have helped shape your career, your personality, or the person that you have become today? It could be anything, any incident or any role model for that matter.
That's a lot of nostalgia, but yeah, I've had very, normal growing up years. Grew in New Delhi, normal schooling, so everything's pretty normal. And of course, pretty normal college life as well. But I think there have been influences in my life and my learning style. More than reading, I think you asked that question somewhere earlier as well. My reading style is more on, I believe in video-based learning. I'll see a lot of YouTube videos, have short reads on the net, go through some of the articles. That kind of gives me a very quick bite of things. Of course, sources of inspiration have been many from growing up years. It's all your ecosystem. Of course, your family inspires you, and probably, the circumstances that you grow up in, you tend to kind of become, an output of the circumstances you've gone through. So as family during my growing up years, mother, father, completely hardworking government servants. So, clearly that's the kind of upbringing I've had. So not taking anything for granted was something that was told to me, during childhood days, that I've always experienced, that what you have, is very important for you to keep on working hard to kind of hold on to it. Otherwise, you start to see things slipping. And when you move from childhood to the adulthood, a lot of influence has come my way from hearing a lot of good influences. And I'm just going to take a few names like Steve Jobs. Of course, I do hear his archive YouTube videos, Bill Gates, these are people, Barack Obama for that matter, a lot, Narendra Modi, our honorable prime minister. You hear a lot of speeches of these leaders and how they conduct themselves, and then try to get some source of inspiration from all of them. And I believe that there's a lot to learn from each one of the personalities that I just spoke about. And trust me, these are just three that comes to the top of my mind. There are, of course, many that I follow on LinkedIn or on other platforms as well. So source of inspiration, to be honest, every day I try to explore something new, someone new, and then try to get a source of inspiration. Was I an introvert during my childhood days? The answer is absolutely yes. I was, very introvert, self-contained, boy in that age. And of course, during the corporate world for 21 years, I've tried to be more extrovert, try to be more talkative, as people call me. I do have a lot of opinions. I do have a lot of experiences to share that I've built over a period of time. So, clearly there's been a journey of introvert to an extrovert. And of course, having a lot of ecosystem around me to draw some sources of inspiration for people that I just spoke about. So that's how, my journey has been so far.
Wow. So did you always want to do this thing, what you're doing today, or did you have maybe some other passions? Growing up, we have different ideas that, of what we want to be in life.
Well, very frankly, coming out of the college, I did not envisage this far, to be honest, that, 20 years down the line, I'll be sitting here, alongside and probably, become the chief operating officer for a life insurance company. But of course, one thing which was clear in my mind was to kind of, get into some leadership positions and, be fortunate enough if I get into one. And of course, to be able to work with a very strong team. I believe that, as a team player myself, it's very important to kind of take the team forward and get that feedback from the team. So of course, didn't envisage that I will reach to this spot over here and probably get into the life insurance sector. But yes, leadership positions, influencing people, try to share experiences, try to work my hands on strategy. Operations, technology, academically, technology has been there with me for more than my professional career. And another thing that's been there with me, in my professional journey has been risk management. So, if you see how I've evolved myself, considerable amount of time on risk management, compliance, enforcing, the importance of risk. And then, of course, then going on to do the things that I used to tell, the earlier COOs, who sat in this position. As a CRO, I used to guide them. And of course, I'm very fortunate now to be sitting in that position and driving the team and taking the organization forward. So that's how it's been.
Wonderful. And I will come to the team, building part a little later. Just a fun fact about Steve Jobs, you mentioned you were inspired by him. So it is said that he used to, just to save time and to manage time better, he used to decide his clothes in the beginning of the month. So he knew exactly what he's going to wear the entire month. In fact, he used to wear the same colored shirt and same colored, pant throughout the, his entire tenure, which just saved him so much time. Just these small things are so beneficial. Well, thank you so much. So, coming to some of your earlier interviews, Sachin, you have spoken about a few things. You spoke about three things that are very important for you, that you have followed and that have led to the success that you have achieved. One was sticking to the basics, the second was an eye for detail, and the third was customer service. So, care to elaborate a bit? Do you look for these qualities in all your employees when you bring them onto your team? Are there also some other qualities that you look for, for the employees in your team?
Well, absolutely. Sticking to the basics is very important. I think while innovation is important and you should always continue to challenge the status quo, but I think what's very important is that your basics have to be very, very right. And now basics are not your hardcore basics that you learn how to run the business. It's more on the softer side of the basics. Meaning that if you come across a situation where you have an option to choose between the two strategies, where would you go and why would you kind of take that plan? So I think sticking to the basics from a decision management standpoint is extremely important. And if you're not kind of sticking to the basics and trying to, do more innovation, then you'll find yourself in a situation where the innovations are not grounded. So it's very important to kind of be very, very simple in communication. You should be able to understand me and I should be able to understand you. That's as basic of communication as it gets. So I try to keep it as simple as I can when I talk to people. I think customer centricity is an obsession, I believe. That's one of the values that the organization that I work for also has. I feel that obsession, when I meet a person, is clearly reflected in the eye of the person. When the person starts to explain things, the curiosity or the child within, tries to dominate over the professional that I'm talking to. And therefore the child within then tries to innovate a lot of stuff, right? And that's where, customer centricity becomes the core driving engine to drive that innovation. So customer centricity, can't be faked at all. If I come across somebody whom I'm talking to or taking an interview, I always talk about empathy. What would empathy mean? And there are 2-3 answers that I know that the person will give, which trainers, typically provide us. It's a textbook answer. And you'll probably catch that person saying that, that person is probably not being that real. And true customer centricity means, completely different. It means service before self. It means that customers come first before self, and you try to put yourself in customer shoes. That's where you realize that the innovation stems from, and then technology, and then process. So customer is the core universe of driving innovation and taking organizations to the next level. So these 3 principles that you just spoke about, Deepti, are the ones that I clearly look into when I get into my zone of shortlisting people. I can easily understand the ones who are kind of probably giving more textbook answers to the one who are trying to be more real. So my pick is always trying to be more real than as against to going with a very conventional textbook kind of people. And no offenses there. I mean, you require every kind of blend, but I think position to position, it varies and is very, very important. But being real is very important. Being simple is very important, and customer centricity driving the two, very, very important for me.
Absolutely. Very well said there. Thank you so much. In fact, so just talking about my experience, I did work with an organization, in customer service for some time. And the only thing they told us was that even if you cannot deliver to your customer, remember that your intent will matter to them. The very fact that you're trying, they can see through that, and that is, good enough customer service for them. So it's actually very simple, coming back to like what you said.
Yes.
So thank you so much for that. And we've spoken enough about work, about your professional life. Now, as a leader, of course, you look after your team, you nurture them. There must be pressure on you, and you manage that beautifully. How do you manage your personal self, and how do you look after yourself? How do you unwind and maintain the work-life balance? And what are the things that you like to do when you're not in work mode?
Well, I call work-life balance as life-work balance. Life, of course, comes first. And of course, you need to balance the work alongside. I think discipline, planning, passion is very, very critical for you to be able to understand, how to, switch yourself off and switch yourself on. Easier said than done. I consider myself and my family thinks that I'm a workaholic. Sometimes carry the baggage at home, and sometimes you'll see me kind of slogging more in the office. And during COVID times, it was my family witnessing what I go through, for 1.5 years at home. And of course, the understanding is much more better. So my wife now clearly understands, why is it that I spend those many extra hours in office at times, dealing with large teams, diverse set of people, a lot of priorities, taking the team together, making sure that there are celebrations and there are reflection points. I think that's what kind of puts a lot of strain on anyone. But I think planning is important. Discipline is extremely important. When you're with your family, try to kind of be with your family, try to create a zone that this is the zone that I'm in, and probably I would want to kind of stay in that zone with my family and give my 100% there. And then, of course, once you wear the Iron Man suit, as I call it, which is the Iron Man suit that you wear every day when you come to work, then it is the Iron Man that has to work, But then when you're out of the Iron Man suit, it is the Tony Stark at the end of the day that has to really take care of the family and get the engine going. So that's how I try to differentiate myself. But of course, life-work balance is extremely important. And I think a lot of support comes from my family as well on some of these things. And I think on the work side, a lot of understanding, I get from my colleagues and my peers as well, where they kind of take things away from me and try to kind of get me more into a solution zone than discussing what my problems. So I think if we get into a solution zone, like I just shared with you, that analogy that, I consider myself as an Iron Man. You wear a suit, once the suit is off, you're Tony Stark, and once the suit is on, you're kind of acting like Iron Man and doing what Iron Man essentially does. So a big fan there because of my son. But of course, that's how I've kind of differentiated on both sides.
So what are the things that you like to do when you're not working? Like, do you have any hobbies, any interests?
Well, I do a lot of traveling. Of course, COVID did kind of put a lot of, stop to it. I love to kind of go around the mountains and the hills, driving along with the family, that's what I normally would do. But of course, as I said, I'm always on the learning mode. So you'll probably see me watching more of, short documentaries and those YouTube videos, which are more inspirational, be it on the personal side, be it on the professional side. A lot of Sadhguru quotes that I would probably pick up at time. I think keeping myself fit is something that I'm kind of really working on during these days. So therefore, making sure that the diet is proper and doing proper breathing exercises and yoga is important, I feel. And that's something that I'm doing currently. Of course, I was down with COVID in May of this year. So I've seen, things very closely of how things could really turn out, and, how COVID can actually throw surprises at you. And hence your readiness level, your preparedness level in your mind has to be very strong. So that's what I'm working on, Deepti, to keep myself going and motivated.
Absolutely. So, well, we wish you great health always. But how did that change, that incident after you got COVID, in terms of your approach towards, your life, your work, your family? Have there been any changes in the way you think now?
Well, I don't think there's any change to how I think. I mean, the goal-oriented person in me continues to be, pushing myself aggressively to pursue the goal. But I think clearly what during COVID I learned was, again, something that I told you, during my growing up years, not to take anything for granted. And of course, it was the love of the family, the friends, the teams over here that kind of helped me, move through that time and zone. But clearly, not much has changed from the thinking or the outlook perspective, but a lot has changed subconsciously, I feel, where I'm, now kind of in that zone where I tend to listen more. I tend to hear more, I tend to react less, probably respond more. So clearly, the experience that COVID has taught me is to, take each day as it comes, and to make sure that you make the maximum out of that day, and try to make sure that that day's outcome is fitting into your 5-term goal that we just spoke about when we started off this session. So that's how I'm kind of just building up and taking up my professional life as well as on the personal side as well.
Wow. So seize the day.
Yes, very important. Very, very important.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for that. And we'll quickly do a fun rapid fire round. So this is the fun segment of the interview. And what we're going to do is we're going to just give you some questions and you have to choose between the options or give us short answers. That way we get to know you a little bit better. So are you ready, Sachin?
Yes, excited.
All right. Okay, so here it goes. Are you a morning or an evening person?
Morning.
Okay. Planning your life or going with the flow?
Planning.
Work from home or work from office?
Hybrid.
Okay. Beaches or mountains, your ideal holiday? I think you already spoke about it, but go again.
Mountains.
Yes.
Yeah, mountains.
Favorite city in the world?
Delhi, Gurugram, where I'm currently based out of.
Lovely. Favorite food item?
Oh, before the diet, it used to be Rajma rice. But now, of course, it is more on the salads. So I enjoy the salads and the soups more right now. But growing up, it's been the Rajma and the rice.
Lovely. Okay. Favorite hobby? I think you spoke about it.
Yes.
Favorite leader or role model?
Well, there are a lot, many. It's hard to kind of pick.
You spoke about some of them, yeah.
I think, given the profession that I'm in, I would still pick Steve Jobs as one of the people whom I really admire and pursue. And of course, Barack Obama, I'm not sure if I spoke about him, but there's a lot of good lectures that you'll hear from him as well. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So if you were to interview someone, who would you like to interview?
I think that's a tough one, actually. There are a lot of faces coming right in front of my eyes as I speak, but clearly can't pick anyone. Yeah, that's a tricky one, actually. Unless you give me options, maybe I'll kind of make it more interesting. But do not have anyone that I would love to kind of just interview. I'd love to have a lot of chats with everyone, to be honest. For all the people that I just spoken about, I would love to have a chat session or an interview session. But I think I'll probably pass that.
Yeah, you seem like someone.
One person. Now that you just said, sorry to interrupt. I think one person that I would love to kind of pick up my experience or probably share is the person. He's no more there, but Dhirubhai Ambani. For the work that he's done and how he's built the entire group is amazing, right? So I think I would love to kind of, if given a choice, go back to the history. And during the same age, I'll probably pick up my session with him and get his learnings and also the blessings.
Absolutely. What a great story, right?
Yeah.
All right. Great. And fill in the blank. Life is incomplete without?
Family.
Okay, lovely. And finally, cutting chai with samosa or cutting chai with vada pav?
Cutting chai with vada pav.
Amazing. We'll give you one more option, cutting chai with ET. You like that as well, right?
Of course. Cutting chai with ET for sure. Why not?
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Sachin, for that wonderful, wonderful interview. And now I think I should hand over for the second part of this interview. But ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Sachin Datta, COO Power Excellence, a great leader who leads by example and who delightfully shared his life story with us. So thank you so much once again, Mr. Datta. And I truly enjoyed this interview. I'm sure that our viewers also did. And of course, so many things to learn there. So this was yet another inspiring story at the Economic Times Cutting Chai Stories, an initiative of ET Edge. We'll see you soon with another episode. Keep watching Cutting Chai Stories.